that when he was able to get kicked inside, he was able to use that athleticism to really overwhelm interior offensive linemen.
Texas A&M defensive lineman Demarvin Leal is a really interesting study because there's a lot of different things you can project as possible roles for him at the next level. So Keith, as we set the table here, you're the guy that did the write-up. What's your favorite role projection for a guy who you could project as a 5, you could project as a 3, you could project as an outside defensive end? Where do you like that projection best?
I like him on the interior of a defensive line. At Texas A&M, he's another guy, and this has been a consistent theme, right? They want to move their best player all over the field, but it may not be to the best benefit as far as the player producing the best film. And you're talking about a guy playing defensive end at 6'4", 300 pounds. Like that's a big defensive end, right? But I seen on film that when he was able to get kicked inside, he was able to use that athleticism to really overwhelm interior offensive linemen with his speed. And I think that's his path to success. I think so many reps have been lost for him at Texas A&M because he was playing that defensive end position, but I think he can make more of an impact on the interior defensive line in the NFL.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I'd play him inside as well. This is a kid who, you know, if you scout the flashes of DeMarvin Leal, we're talking about a top 8 player in this class because his upside is that high, you know, in terms of his ability to be a disruptive player along the interior defensive line. Like, the explosiveness this kid has, the length, the power in terms of his ability to convert speed to power. I mean, it's impressive. You know, he can really get after the quarterback when he's allowed to. And the issues for DeMarvin Leal, because there are some significant issues, is the inconsistency. You don't see his effectiveness down to down, especially in the run game. You see him against guards and not even double teams, against single blocks, getting handled at the line of scrimmage, getting mauled off the ball, and it's like, why? Because he is powerful. I think he's explosive. He has good length. So what really is the issue with him getting driven back off the ball time and time again? And I think really what it comes down to is he needs to understand to play with better leverage, play with a better base, because he gets so upright in terms of his initial contact, where offensive lineman can easily kind of just out-leverage him, and then the down's already lost. And so there's a lot of technical things he needs to work on. Again, the upside with him is through the roof, and so I wouldn't be surprised to hear him drafted earlier than maybe we would expect. But the flaws that are there are pretty significant for me to really get ultra excited about his projection at the next level.
Yeah, I think for me, I think this is a player that falls in the line of a guy that is probably someone that on early downs you want to keep him as maybe your 4-3 strong side end, and someone that you would ideally want to kick inside, you know, and sub, right? I don't think that he has the swivel and the talent to, you know, excel as a 4-3 end and be a 10 sack, you know, a year guy. But this is someone that has some influence on the interior, and I think that this is probably where he's best suited. He does need to play with a more consistent pad level, and I think that if he does that, he could have some success on the inside. And I think that's where he plays best.
For me, I think the consistency comes with the reps, right? Like when we talk about playing defensive end, it's not even a hand in the ground defensive end. This guy is being a stand-up edge rusher. Like he's 245 pounds, like some of the other edge rushers we see. And I agree with both of you guys, right? Like he stands up too quick, and then the offensive linemen, are able to get into his chest plate and they just flush him out. But it starts with the beginning of the rep. He stands right up, and this is a 6'4", 300-pound guy that we've seen that showed us some sense of power and strength. So I think he can do it. It's just a matter of somebody telling him to hone in on one specific position and letting him go from there.
This is going to be a landing spot guy for me. Send him to Baltimore. Send him somewhere where they have a good, consistent track record of developing talent, because we came into this year and I was really excited to see what next step DeMarvin Leal took in his game. And he didn't take any.
Yeah.
The exact same questions we have now are the ones that we had 10 months ago when we did our first regional watch through him in the summertime. So I think it's really important to understand that DeMarvin has all the physical potential to be a starting caliber player at a couple of different spots. But having a defensive line coach that understands how to mentally recondition somebody about the start of my process on every play to the end of my process on every play, and has veterans in the room. Baltimore just re-signed Calais Campbell on a 2-year deal. You think about Calais Campbell as a big body guy who has played defensive end. He's played inside. They kick him inside on sub. He plays 3-4 defensive end. They move him around. Well, somebody like that can kind of impress a super young, toolsy player who's that ball of clay that just needs direction. But if he doesn't get that, then you're probably going to always have some of the inconsistencies that exist with Demarvin Leal. But based on the tools, this is somebody who is probably going to get their name called relatively early on day 2.